Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this English lesson about forgetfulness. Forgetfulness refers to those times in life when we forget to do something, when there's something we're supposed to do, and for some reason we don't remember to do it. Or there's something that we're supposed to bring, or something that we're supposed to have with us, and we forget. We don't remember to bring that item or to have that item with us. So all of us, I think, are forgetful. Some people are more forgetful than others, but forgetfulness is definitely a very common human characteristic. That would be the word I would use to describe it. I am a forgetful person, and I will describe in this lesson as well the things that I forget from time to time. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about forgetfulness. A birthday. So I'm going to start this lesson by talking about the kinds of things that people forget. Some of the most common things that people forget. I almost forgot my friend's birthday. It was actually a couple of days ago, but I remembered the day before, and so I made a little note on my calendar that my friend's birthday was the next day. It was on Wednesday. So yes, a birthday. It is not a good thing to forget. It's not good to forget someone's birthday. People can be a little bit upset if you forget their birthday. My birthday's coming up in a month or two. I never say exactly what it is, but I will maybe when it's closer to my birthday remind you that my birthday is coming up, and some of you can then say happy birthday to me. But yes, not nice to forget someone's birthday. It's always nice to remember a birthday. Your keys. This is the most common one for me. Now, actually, I can't find my keys right now. I forgot to put my keys on the desk. I'll grab them for a sec. Oh, that was kind of funny. I didn't do that on purpose. My keys. Now, this is a pretty minor thing to forget, because when I forget my keys, I usually have just walked out to my van, realize I don't have my keys, go back in the house and grab my keys. But keys are a very common thing for people to forget. Probably one of the most common things for me to forget as well. In fact, as I walk out the door every morning, I'm usually saying to myself, keys, phone, wallet, rings, Fitbit, or ring, Fitbit. I want to make sure I have my keys, my phone, my wallet, my wedding ring, and my Fitbit or my fitness tracker on. So yes, keys, very common thing to forget. To pick someone up. This is a really bad thing to do. If you forget to pick someone up, they end up waiting. Sometimes at school, a student will have a basketball practice after school, and at the end, their parents will forget to pick them up. They'll be standing there waiting, and then the coach or a teacher will say, "Do you have a ride coming? Or is someone coming to get you?" And they'll say, "No, I think they forgot to pick me up." So it's very important that you remember to pick someone up. If a friend of yours says, "Can you pick me up from the airport when I come to visit?" It would be really bad to forget to pick that person up. But it does happen, yes. To mail something. So this is something I forget as well quite often, because I don't mail things in the regular mail very often. I usually just email things to people. If I need to send someone a message, I email them. So when I do have to actually mail something, I usually forget to put it in the mailbox. It's very easy to forget that because it's not something that all of us do regularly anymore. So sometimes you forget to mail something. I still have one place that I have to pay for farm stuff, and they like me to mail them a check. I can't pay them online, so often I will forget to mail the check to them. To repay a debt. So again, if someone loans you money, if someone gives you $20, they expect you to repay them. That is a debt. You owe a debt to that person. So if you borrow money from someone, if they loan you money, if you borrow the money from them, you see the difference in loan and borrow. So if they loan you money, they expect you to repay that debt. It's very awkward if someone loans you money and then you forget to pay them back. You might be having a conversation with them at another time, and they might just seem very awkward or not very nice to you. And you're like, oh, I wonder why they aren't being nice to me. The reason might be because you forgot to repay the money you owe them. You forgot to repay a debt. This might be something you forget to do when you get older, and that's to take your pills. I'm on a couple medications because of my heart, and I take 2 pills at night. But sometimes I forget to take my pills. When you forget to take your pills, it's not a good thing. It's not a big deal for me because my medication isn't super important. But yes, sometimes people will forget to take their pills. My mom has a special container like this with the days of the week on it. And she takes a few pills, normal pills that old people would take. And so she will put her pills in for each day. And then she can see at the end of the day, if there's still pills in the Tuesday little box, she knows she forgot to take her pills. To turn off the oven or stove. Now, I've done lessons on mishaps and mistakes, and this lesson does overlap those two just a little bit. One of the things I talked about in that lesson is forgetting to turn off the oven or forgetting to turn off the stove. When you leave your house, it's important that you turn off the stove or turn off the oven. Sometimes in the morning, I will fry eggs, and then Jen will say, "Oh, you left the burner on." That means on the stovetop, I left on one of the spots where you can cook things. So it's important to turn off the oven and turn off the stove. Not a good thing to forget, but pretty common. By the way, when I was searching for things that people commonly forget, it was pretty easy to find really long lists, but I also myself could think of many of them because I think it's just human nature to forget things. So this one's pretty common, your password or PIN. So PIN is usually just some numbers. When I go to the bank, I have to punch in my PIN number. I'm going to be careful not to move my finger when I do that because I want to do you understand, I don't want to give away my PIN number accidentally. So I punch in my PIN number. It's not 111111111 if that's what you think. But often when you go to use a website or app, you will forget your password. And sometimes when you go to check your messages on your phone, you might have to punch in a PIN number or passcode. Or when you go to the bank, you might have to punch in that code. And it's sometimes something that we forget. Something from the grocery store. So sometimes I go to the grocery store and Jen will tell me what we need. She'll say, don't forget, get some milk, some bread, some eggs, some cheese. If it's more than 5 things, I will forget one of those things. I will forget to buy one of those things. So often when I go to the grocery store, if I'm buying 4 or 5 things, I will just memorize what I need to get. But if it's more than that, I make a list. So sometimes you go to the grocery store, you know you need to buy a few things. When you get home, you realize you forgot to buy milk, or you forgot to buy eggs, or you forgot to buy cheese, or whatever the item is that you forgot. I do this one every once in a while. I do forget things like that. And then someone's name. This happens to me quite a bit. I have taught a lot of students over the last 22, 23 years, almost 25 years. Yeah, that's crazy. When I run into a student later in life after they've graduated, maybe it's 10 years later or 15 years later, sometimes I remember their last name, but I can't remember their first name. Don't know why that is. I think it's a pretty common thing for teachers. So I can remember their last name. Oh, your last name is Smith. And so usually what I do is I just say, sorry, it's been so many years, I can't remember your name. And then they tell me what their name is. But yes, a very common thing to forget would be someone's name for sure. Very, very common. A word. Now this happens to me when I'm speaking French. It even happens to me sometimes when I'm speaking English, where I can't think of a word. This is the dictionary entry for the word dictionary. But if I was talking and I might say, so the other day I was looking up a word in the, the book with all the words in it with the definitions. And then eventually someone might say dictionary. And I would say, yeah, in the dictionary. So sometimes you will have this because you are English learners. You will have it where You know that you know the word, but you can't remember the word. Does that make sense? Like, I know the word for bicycle in French, but I can't remember it right now. I think it's either bicyclette or vélo. But anyways, sometimes you forget a word. Sometimes you forget what day it is. This actually happened at my work a few weeks ago. I won't say who. One of my colleagues forgot what day it was. It was a Wednesday. They thought it was a Thursday. So sometimes you just simply forget what day it is. Today is Friday. If I was really busy and if I didn't sleep well, I might wake up and not remember what day it is. I might say to Jen, "What day is it today?" And she would say, "Oh, it's Friday today. You have a live stream. You better get up because it's time to do your live stream." So yes, sometimes you forget what day it is. Sometimes you forget your glasses. Sometimes, as we heard earlier, you forget them on your head. You do this and you don't know where they are. I only use glasses for reading. And sometimes when Jen and I go to a restaurant, I can't read the menu if the print is really small. And I'll say, "Oh, I forgot my glasses. I don't have my glasses with." My sister told me that you can get a little card that works like reading glasses that you can keep in your wallet. I should probably get one of those. But sometimes you forget your glasses and then it's hard to see. This one is rare, but this used to happen a lot. A long time ago, it was important to remember someone's phone number. We didn't have phones where the phone remembers the phone number. You had to know someone's phone number in order to call them. So when I was a kid, if there was someone in my class who said, "Hey, give me a call later, maybe we can ask your parents if you can come over tonight and call me if that's okay." So I would need to memorize or remember their phone number. Nowadays, it's so much easier. I don't even know my sister's phone number. Like, it's on my phone. I can call one of my sisters or my other sister whenever I want. But if you said, "What's your sister's phone number?" I would have to look on my phone to find it. When I was much younger, I would just remember people's phone numbers. It was just something you did. Sometimes you forget to pay a bill. And then whoever you were supposed to pay might send you a letter in the mail saying that you forgot to pay your bill. It's important to pay your bills. This is actually a hydro bill. In Ontario, we call electricity hydro. And the company we get electricity from is called Hydro One. This is not my hydro bill, by the way. So when you receive something from someone or a service, you need to pay the bill. So often you will get a bill in the mail. Sometimes you can pay the bill online. Sometimes you can send a check in the mail. But sometimes you forget to pay the bill. Not good. You should always pay your bills. Sometimes you forget to lock your car. So interestingly enough, I forgot to lock my car the other day. I went to the local arena to go for a walk and I left my wallet in my car and I forgot to lock my car. Thankfully, nothing bad happened. I was very happy when I came back, when I realized that I had forgotten to lock my car, my van actually. I was really happy that my wallet was still inside. So sometimes you forget to click the little button to go beep, beep, to lock your car. Beep, that's the sound effect for today. It's not a good thing, especially if you have valuables. In English, we often refer to the expensive things that you might leave somewhere as valuables. Your purse, your wallet, maybe your watch. If you leave that in a car, we would say you left some valuables in there, things that are worth something. To turn off the lights. So when you go to bed, you don't need the kitchen light on. You don't need the living room light on. You don't need any lights on, so you should turn them off. It costs money to leave the lights on. But sometimes I get up in the morning and the kitchen light is on because one of my children has forgotten to turn off the lights. Turning off the lights saves you a little bit of money. It's just silly to have lights on where you don't need them on. When I was a kid, I often left the lights on and then my dad would get mad. Now I'm the parent, and when my children leave the lights on, when they forget to turn off the lights, I get mad. By the way, you can flip this phrase. You can say, it's important to turn off the lights. You could say, it's important to turn the lights off. Both of those work in informal English. But if you want to save a little bit of money on electricity, it's important to turn off the lights. This is something I forget to do, and this is why I don't have houseplants. I had a tree or a plant here, and we had to move it to a different room so that Jen and one of my kids could take better care of it. I didn't forget to water it, but it didn't get enough sunlight. So I should mention that. But sometimes people forget to water their plants. When you forget to water your plants, the plants die. Sometimes people think, oh, I'd love to have a lot of plants in my house, but they're not good at taking care of plants. And so they forget to water the plants, and then the plants die. Sometimes people forget to put on deodorant. So deodorant is something that you put in your armpits. When I'm done having a shower in the morning, before I put my shirt on, I put on deodorant. Some people also wear something called antiperspirant or antiperspirant. They're both similar. Deodorant, I think, just smells nice, and antiperspirant stops you from sweating. But if you want to be a pleasant person to work around, especially if you work closely with other people, it's important to remember to put on deodorant. When you forget to put on deodorant, sometimes by the end of the day, you don't smell very nice. And then if you are like me, if you are someone who burns very easily when they're in the sun, some people don't, some people do. I happen to burn if I'm outside for more than an hour in the summer. So it's important to put on sunscreen. Sometimes though, I forget to put on sunscreen. Last year, I played baseball with some students. A class was at the local park, and the teacher said, when you're done work, come and play baseball with us. And so I went, and it was 3:00, and I forgot to put sunscreen on, and I got a burn like on my scalp. I'm not going bald. I don't have a bald spot, but somehow my hair was really short, and I had a sunburn on my head. It was very painful because I forgot to put on sunscreen. By the way, you can also say sunblock or suntan lotion. All of those work. This has happened to me sometimes because I don't go to the city a lot. Sometimes when you park your car in a really big parking lot or in a really big parking garage, if you don't look for like a sign that says what section you're in, sometimes you forget where you parked. I had this a few weeks ago. I went to Toronto and I parked my van in a parking lot, and then I took the train into Toronto. And when I got back that night, I kind of was like, where did I park? So I was looking and looking and looking. Luckily, my van is bright red, so eventually I saw my van. But sometimes you forget where you parked. Never fun. Because for a brief moment, you wonder if someone stole your vehicle, and then eventually, hopefully, you will find it. To return something. So this is a picture of someone returning a library book. If you borrow something from someone, it's important that you return that as well. Sometimes people will borrow tools from other people. Maybe you go to your neighbor and say, can I borrow your saw to cut wood? And then it's important to return the saw. When you borrow a book from the library, it's important to return the book. Years ago, when you could rent videos, because we didn't have streaming services, you needed to return the video. And sometimes you forget. If you forget to return a library book, you will get a fine. Although in Canada, they're pretty lenient now about fines. A fine is when they charge you money for forgetting to return something. But when I used to rent movies, there was a big, you just paid more if you forgot to return it. Your passport. If you are going on a trip, it's important that you have your passport with you. You don't want to be at the airport and then remember or realize that you forgot your passport. This has never happened to me. When I travel, I'm pretty thorough. I try to make sure I have everything. Now, I haven't actually left Canada since 2018, I think. It's been a while. So my passport has expired. I need to get it renewed. So I forgot to renew my passport. Oh, I didn't make a slide for that. Forgetting to renew something. Yeah, that's a big one too. Remember that one. Sometimes when you go on a trip, you forget your passport. Sometimes you forget to renew things. So a passport expires if you don't pay money every 5 or 10 years. And I have let mine expire. I forgot to renew it. To take out the garbage and recycling. So here we have garbage day on Thursdays. It's important that we bring the garbage and recycling to the road so that when the garbage truck comes, it can pick it up. By the way, we say garbage. In some places, people say trash. Some people say waste maybe, but here it's usually garbage or trash. So on Wednesday night, Jen and I put the garbage together. We put it by the door of our house so it's ready. And then we have to remember on Thursday morning to bring the garbage out. It's bad to forget to take the garbage out because then you have to keep it for another week because the garbage truck only comes once a week. By the way, even I have a garbage truck come to my house out here in the country. It is wonderful. Most of what we get rid of, though, is recycling and compost. The amount of garbage we throw out is very, very small. Most of what you buy in Canada now can be recycled, paper, plastic, all that. And we do compost all of our banana peels and potato peels and those kinds of things. So we actually don't throw out very much. And by the way, it is called Garbage Day. If someone says, is tomorrow garbage day? Yeah, tomorrow's garbage day. So like Brent in the chat said, my trash day is Wednesday. So Brent obviously calls it trash day. But yes, we would say garbage day is Thursday. For Brent, trash day is Wednesday. Don't forget. Oh, okay. A few ways that as humans, we help ourselves remember things, ways to not forget. And those are called reminders. I need to leave myself a reminder, or I'm going to need a reminder. That means someone or something you do helps you remember. So let me talk about a few of those. Write it on a calendar. This is pretty common for my family. In our kitchen, we have a really, really big calendar, and everything important gets written on the calendar. One of my kids has a job now, so they write on the calendar the days that they work. They have exams coming up. So on the calendar, we have their exams. I don't write a lot on the calendar. Like if I have a dentist appointment, I write it on the calendar. If I have a doctor's appointment, I write it on the calendar. But definitely one of the best ways to remember something is to write it on a calendar, somewhere that's really, really visible, somewhere that you can see it when you walk by. No one does this anymore that I know of, but sometimes people in the olden days would tie a string on their finger so they would remember something. Let's say in the morning, you know that you have to meet a friend at 3:00. You can tie a string on your finger, and then whenever you see the string, you will remember. Again, no one does this anymore. I have not seen anyone. But what I have seen is students sometimes write stuff on their hand. They'll write something on their hand so that they can remember. So that's probably more common. I don't think very many people tie strings on their fingers anymore. But I thought I should mention it because it is kind of a funny thing we say in English. Oh, tie a string on your finger so you remember. I do this a lot. You can send an email to yourself. So I will often email myself and I'll leave the email unread so it's at the top of my inbox so that I can remember something. So this to me is just a very, very good way for me to remember stuff. I'll email, like get groceries after work. I'll email myself and then it will be at the top of my inbox. Very handy. Make a note. So there are a lot of ways to make a note. You can make a note and pin it on a board. You can make a note on a piece of paper. Sometimes just making a note helps you remember, but definitely writing something down on a piece of paper. Sometimes I will have a piece of paper in my pocket. I'll make a note and I'll have a piece of paper in my pocket. And then every once in a while I'll be like, oh, what's this paper? Oh, yeah, I have a dentist appointment later. And we do have, let me get this slide. We do have what are called Post-it notes or a sticky note. So a Post-it note is a piece of paper that's sticky at the top, so you can stick it on the wall or on your computer monitor. Post-it note is what we call the name brand, and you can also buy what are called sticky notes, which is just Post-it notes not made by, who makes them? DuPont? I don't know who makes Post-it notes. Let me look that up. Who makes Post-it notes? 3M. Okay, yes. Sold in more than 100 countries. Well, you guys probably know what Post-it notes are then, and they're probably called Post-it notes in your country. Make a list. I mentioned that sometimes I will write something on a piece of paper and put it in my pocket or in my wallet. I'll often do this before I go to the grocery store. I'll make a list. I'll make a list of the things that I need to get. Sometimes when I have a really busy day, I'll make a list. I actually have a list here. This list is basically paying the bills. It's like pay Joe, deposit check, pay for crop insurance. So basically this is pay the garage, which is where I get my car fixed. So sometimes you have a list and you use that list in order to remember things. I do that quite often, especially if I'm tired. I'll make a list. Set a timer. So when you cook something or when you bake something, it's good to set a timer. But Jen and I actually use timers for other things as well. My son has a job. He's done work at 9 o'clock some nights and 8 o'clock other nights. So sometimes after supper at 6 o'clock, we'll set a timer to go off 15 minutes before one of us has to go get him, just so we remember. You can set a timer on your watch, possibly. You can set a timer on your phone, or you can just use a kitchen timer like this. But setting a timer can be a great way to remember things. When it goes off, you remember what you are supposed to do. You might use Alexa or Siri or Google Assistant or Google Home. You might say, Alexa, can you set a timer for 2 hours from now? I think my Alexa just said something. I just said her name twice, right? But we have these devices, some of us in our homes. You can use them to set reminders and to help you remember things. And then maybe you use an app. I don't use an app. I know some people use apps to make grocery lists. Some people use apps to remind themselves of things. I don't do this, but I know it's very common. I know in the grocery store, sometimes people even have their grocery list on their phone. I still use paper for that because the paper doesn't need to turn on and off. And actually at our grocery store, my phone doesn't have internet access and the store doesn't have really good Wi-Fi. So I like to rely on paper.